Growing big, delicious kohlrabis is not only easy but also very rewarding. In today's episode, we have 5 growing tips for you to grow your best kohlrabis ever. Let's jump into tip number 1. You won't get high quality vegetables unless you're using high quality seeds. I'll leave some links to the seeds I've used, so do check it out. Here, for example, we are growing 2 varieties, Terek and Kosak, which are great kohlrabi varieties to grow. Kohlrabis grow better started from seeds rather than direct sowing, so starting them 4 to 6 weeks before transplanting is a good idea. Make sure you use sterile seed starting mix to start your seeds. Once you've sowed the seeds, keep them moist by bottom watering, as you see here, and keep it in a humid environment for the seeds to germinate. Here we are using a greenhouse dome cover to create humidity for faster germination. 5 days since sowing, you can see that the seedlings have emerged, but do not transplant them at this time. They need to develop a little more, so give them a few more days and they will be ready soon. At 20 days since planting, you can start transplanting the seedlings. We will show you how to transplant these seedlings in both raised beds and in containers. First, we will plant them in raised beds. Our raised bed contains a great mix of organic matter and worm castings. This creates a perfect combination of nutrients for these plants to grow and thrive. Tip number 2. Space plants about 4 inches apart. You must separate each seedling and plant it separately. Do not crowd them and do not plant multiple plants together. They grow best when they are spaced apart like these. Container planting. Kohlrabis or German cabbage also grow very well in containers. You can space them in a similar way as you would space them in a raised bed. Here we are planting them along the edge of a fruit tree container we have. Always be on the lookout to maximize growing space in your garden. Once again, our soil is a good mix containing organic matter, worm castings, and added perlite for better drainage. Which brings us to tip number 3. Amend your soil with organic matter and worm castings. Kohlrabi loves a good mix of micronutrients in the soil for producing good-sized bulbs. And once again, you can see that the spacing of the plants is done as per our earlier tip. Now I have direct sowed kohlrabi plants before, but I found that there are several problems with direct sowing. Problems like seedlings drying out or being cut by cutworms. So it's always a good idea to grow from transplants. Some gardening stores also sell transplants, so if you want to save time, grow from transplants. This will buy you about 4 to 6 weeks of time. And that brings us to tip number 4. Avoid using high nitrogen fertilizers. Kohlrabis will grow with high nitrogen fertilizers or all-purpose fertilizers, but the high nitrogen content in them encourages the growth of leaves more than the bulb. And this results in kohlrabis that are very tiny in size and have large leaves. So be careful and do not add any additional fertilizers for kohlrabi in your soil if you already have rich organic matter. The only exception is if you are using sterile soil which does not have any nutrients. Add very little fertilizer, preferably a vegetable fertilizer with high phosphorus content, which is the middle number, to encourage the growth of bulbs. I still do not recommend adding all-purpose fertilizer for growing kohlrabi. Also make sure that you water your plants well after transplanting. So let's look at the harvest now. First, from the containers. Just look at the large bulb. This is how your kohlrabi or German cabbage should look like. Nice, big sized bulbs. I usually remove the bottom leaves before storing them. You can see the kohlrabi here, it's beautiful. Let's go ahead and harvest the rest as well. As you can see, since these were grown in the summer season, they have a lot of insect damage from butterflies laying eggs on them, which in turn become caterpillars. To control insects, you can spray with neem oil or BT, which are both organic insect control methods. However, since I don't use the leaves much, I did not use any pest control on these plants. Even if the plant leaves don't look very good, I can be assured that this is a very clean and organically grown vegetable full of flavor. And this is our first harvest, which looks great. Slugs will also damage kohlrabi plants. I don't think the damage is significant enough, so a few blemishes here and there do not matter much to me. However, if you're concerned, just come out in the late evening hours and you can see the snails on your plants. And if you do, just toss them out and that's it. You'll be harvesting totally flawless kohlrabis. And we have tip number 5. Kohlrabis grow best in the cooler months of fall and spring. In areas like Southern California, you can grow them year round. But they do grow best in the cooler months and have some problems, as you saw, with insect damage in the summer months, and that's a lot less in the cooler months. And finally, here is a harvest from our raised bed. Once again, the leaves have a bit of damage, but just look at the bulbs, they are amazing. Great sized bulbs with a lot of flavor. Kohlrabis taste like a mild version of turnip. They have a very unique taste and are actually called by a lot of different names around the world. So there we have it, folks. Those were our 5 tips for growing great quality kohlrabi in your home garden. If you like this video, do hit that like button. If you have any questions or comments, post them in the comments box below. We'll see you again soon. Happy gardening.